August 5, 2018. 3:47 p.m. In Redding, it felt like just another summer afternoon. Hot. Dry. Quiet. The kind of heat people were used to. The kind that keeps you indoors with the AC running. Nothing unusual. But something was already wrong. Something dangerously wrong. For 2 weeks, the Carr Fire had been burning across Northern California. It started small, like most wildfires do. But day by day, it grew. Consuming forests. Dry brush. Everything in its path. Firefighters were exhausted. Resources were stretched thin. But still, it seemed manageable. Until this day. In the days leading up to August 5th, meteorologists noticed something unusual. A rare combination of conditions was forming. Extreme heat rising from the ground. Humidity dropping to dangerously low levels. And high above. Wind shear. Winds moving in different directions at different altitudes. That kind of setup creates rotation. And when you combine rotation with intense heat, you get something unpredictable. Something powerful. Something no one had truly witnessed at this scale before. Warnings were issued. But not everyone saw them. And even those who did, didn't fully understand. How do you explain a disaster that hasn't officially happened before? By noon, the fire began to behave strangely. It didn't spread in a straight line. It surged. Jumped containment lines. Changed direction without warning. Witnesses said the flames looked like they were twisting. Rotating. Alive. One firefighter radioed in. "This isn't normal, something's off." By 2:30 p.m., everything escalated. Temperature, 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Humidity, 5%. At that level, the environment becomes explosive. Trees aren't just dry. They're fuel waiting to detonate. And the wind? It wasn't steady. It was chaotic. Surface winds from one direction. Upper-level winds from another. Creating invisible rotation in the air. A perfect, terrifying setup. By 3:15 p.m., officials issued the most urgent warning possible. Leave now or face certain death. No more waiting. No more preparation. Just run. People grabbed whatever they could. Keys. Phones. Children. Pets. Some left everything behind. Others hesitated. Thinking they had time. The roads filled instantly. Traffic slowed to a crawl. Smoke swallowed the sky. The sun turned orange. Afternoon became twilight. One resident later said, "We were just sitting in traffic, watching the sky get darker, wondering if we were going to make it out." Some didn't evacuate. Some thought they could protect their homes. Some didn't believe the danger was real. And some realized too late. Then at 3:51 p.m., something appeared that didn't make sense. The fire began to spin. Not just flicker or sway, but rotate in a massive column. A towering vortex of flame. At first, people thought it was a tornado. Others thought they were hallucinating. But it was real. A fire tornado had formed. A phenomenon scientists had theorized about, but never fully documented like this. Winds inside the vortex reached 100 to 140 miles per hour. Flames shot over 200 feet into the air. And the sound? A deep, continuous roar. Like a jet engine tearing through the ground. This wasn't just a fire anymore. It had become a system. A feedback loop. The fire created rotation. The rotation intensified the fire. And together, they fed each other. Growing stronger by the minute. What happened next was beyond anything firefighters had trained for. Trees didn't simply burn. They exploded from the inside. Moisture turned into steam instantly, causing them to burst apart. Homes didn't just catch fire. They were incinerated. Reduced to nothing but ash and foundations. Cars melted. Metal twisted. Glass liquefied. And the vortex kept moving. It crossed roads. Jumped fire breaks. Ignored everything designed to stop it. There was no safe direction. No predictable path. Just destruction. By 5 p.m., entire communities were gone. Places like Keswick were nearly erased. Over 1,000 homes destroyed. Some burned. Others, completely gone. One resident said, "I knew where my house was. But it wasn't there anymore." Infrastructure collapsed. Power lines snapped. Cell towers burned. Water systems failed. Firefighters found themselves in impossible conditions. Hoses with barely any water. Facing walls of rotating fire hundreds of feet tall. One captain said, "We couldn't fight it. We could only run from it." Emergency calls flooded in. People trapped. Families separated. Cars abandoned on highways. The fire moved at speeds up to 6 miles per hour. Faster than most people could escape. When the vortex finally weakened, the damage was already done. 8 people lost their lives. Each one a story. A life interrupted. A moment that couldn't be reversed. An elderly woman who couldn't leave in time. A man who stayed behind to defend his home. A father who went back inside for documents and never came out. But there were also survivors. Families who drove through walls of fire. Neighbors helping neighbors escape. Strangers opening their homes to those who lost everything. In the middle of chaos, humanity showed up. Weeks later, when the fire was finally contained, the scale was staggering. 229,000 acres burned. Over 1,600 structures destroyed. Billions in damage. But the most important impact wasn't physical. It was scientific. For the first time, a fire tornado of this magnitude had been recorded and confirmed. Everything scientists thought they knew had to be reconsidered. This wasn't supposed to happen like this. Not this strong. Not this organized. Not this real. And the conclusion? Terrifyingly simple. It can happen again. Under the right conditions. Extreme heat. Low humidity. Wind shear. And a large fire. Another fire vortex could form. And in a warming world, those conditions are becoming more common. Longer fire seasons. Hotter temperatures. Drier landscapes. The ingredients are there. For survivors, the lesson was clear. Preparation matters. Evacuation matters. But nothing is guaranteed. One survivor said, "In that moment, I realized nature is bigger than all of us." But they didn't give up. They rebuilt. Stronger homes. Better plans. Stronger communities. Not because they believed it wouldn't happen again, but because they knew it could. This wasn't just a wildfire. It was a warning. A glimpse of what's possible when nature reaches its limits. The first fire tornado didn't just destroy land. It destroyed certainty and left behind one question. When it happens again,